Hello, hello. Happy Sunday to you all. Welcome. Come on in. This is Patrice Washington, and I am super excited about our time together today. If you are just checking in, just say hello. Tell me where you're checking in from. I would love to hear from you. Again, it's Patrice Washington. I'm super excited about tonight because it's not earlier this week anymore. On Thursday, I hosted a training that is near and dear to my heart. It's called Speak with Purpose. If you did not get a chance to check that training out, you are missing out. And if you see me looking around, I have YouTube going. I have the Redefining Wealth Facebook group going. Say hello. And I also have Instagram going. So I'm really excited because we have had a lot of buzz around this season of Command the Stage. And so for those of you who don't know, again, my name is Patrice Washington. I'm the creator of the Redefining Wealth podcast. Hello, where my goal is to teach people that wealth is so much more than just money and material possessions. We believe in the original definition of wealth, which is actually the condition of well-being. And so in our neck of the woods on the Redefining Wealth podcast, in my new book, Redefine Wealth for Yourself, and all the things that I do, my goal is to help the masses chase purpose, not money, because I have definitely been there. I was definitely the girl back in the day that thought success meant that you were constantly striving for bigger, bolder, always going, kind of always relentlessly pursuing, instead of being in a place where you were well physically, mentally, relationally, spiritually, and putting yourself in position to actually receive much of what's already your birthright, right? And so people call this all types of things. But for me, I really see this as ministry. I'm gonna keep it straight up with you. I see what I do as ministry because I realize that we live in a time where people are just enforcing this idea of hustle and grind, hustle and grind, hustle and grind. And people are burning out. They're worn out. They're tired of this whole, I've been working, I've been doing all the things. I've been everywhere trying to be all things to all people and still nothing is working. And so a part of what I do with this idea of chase purpose, not money, is teach speakers, in particular, people who want to be speakers, typically entrepreneurs, but also folks who know that they've been overlooked and passed up, even in the workplace, because they didn't know how to truly articulate themselves and position themselves for the raise or promotion. So I help you get laser focused, right, about what you are called to do in the marketplace, whether that's in your own business or someone else's business. Help you get laser focused on that, really lean into what you are authentically called to do, and then figure out the right language and the right framework to articulate that clearly in the marketplace. Because for a lot of people, you know what you want to do. You know who you want to help, right? But someone says, what do you do? And it comes out like, wah, 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 wah. Right? It comes out like, I know what I kind of sort of want to do. I know kind of what this should look like, but I'm having a hard time articulating why am I the one that is called to actually move people to transformation. A lot of it has to do with imposter syndrome. So we talked about some of this on the Speak with Purpose webinar this past Thursday. And if you missed that, listen, you need to hit link in bio and find that, or get on my email list so we can send it out one last time. Because the Speak with Purpose webinar really helped, I believe, a lot of people understand why they were experiencing the imposter syndrome, right? So the imposter syndrome is this idea that, well, I haven't done enough to actually help anyone. Or I can't share my story. If people knew my story, what would they say? If people knew what I'd actually been through, would they trust me to support them? Would they trust me to help them? Who is that? Who am I talking to right now? Is that you? Come on, Instagram. Come on, YouTube, Facebook. Is that a part of why you won't share the story? Is because you feel like if I tell people the truth, if I show up truly as I am with this backstory, then why would they trust me? And I can tell you from experience, because when I lost everything in the recession and I was at my very last, 40 is the end, when I was at my very last, beyond the last, I was negative. And I found myself on the bathroom floor, bawling, snot, and crying, saying, God, why me? How did I go from honors roll, dean's list at the University of Southern California, to becoming a broker during my senior year in college, to building a 7-figure business by 25, only to end up in the recession, having eviction notices on my door, getting both my cars repossessed, having my home foreclosed, right? And having to sell everything on Craigslist within a weekend and ending up in a 600 square foot apartment, box of an apartment in Metairie, Louisiana. Saying, God, well, what did I do? Because I thought I did everything right. I thought I followed the protocol, right? Go to school, get good grades, everything should be fine. So why am I applying for food stamps? Why am I chasing down the power man, asking him to please turn the lights on or my baby's milk is going to spoil? Why am I in this place? I've been a good person. I operate in integrity. I try to treat people well. So how am I in this place? Right? You could have never told me on that bathroom floor when I was bawling and snotting and crying and asking God, why me? That what it would lead to is me not just having passion for financial education, but then having compassion for other people. Because that's the part that I just couldn't see in that moment. And I share this because when I look at my life now and all of the work that I've done, and all of the people that I've served, I know that that time on the bathroom floor didn't happen to me. It happened for me to be the woman that I am today. That's why I say this is not just a business. I know this is ministry, because what I'm called to do is help more of you get out of this idea that what happened to you, right, didn't happen for you. It happened to you. You're still living in fear. You're still ashamed, you still have the embarrassment, you still have the guilt, and you are out here in the marketplace trying to serve people, knowing you want to serve people, but you built up this invisible wall between you and the very people you say you want to serve because you won't tell the truth. And I believe that sometimes the reason that you won't tell the truth is simply because you don't know how to articulate it. I believe that the reason that you won't tell the truth is that you don't know how deep to go, right? And how much of the story actually needs to be told in order to impact others. Now, understand though, that by you holding back and not telling the story, you are missing valuable connection with your audience. And when you are missing valuable connection with your audience, you are also going to miss valuable opportunities to get booked. You're missing valuable opportunities to attract the very clients you say you want to serve. You're missing valuable opportunities to continue to build your platform and not have to do it in a way that is sleazy, not have to do it in a way that feels salesy, not have to do it in a way that has you on a hamster wheel chasing, instead of being in a place where you literally can open your mouth and the people that you are called to serve will feel that you are for them. It's not about telling the story. It's about helping people feel and know that you are the person for them. You are the man or woman for the job, because not only can you articulate your story, you have a process for how people can actually get out of the hell they may feel like they're in. Let me know if you're here. Is this Instagram, you still here? YouTube, you still here? Is this making sense to you? Who is this resonating for? So the thing is not that the story is bad. It's not that you don't have what it takes. It's not that you're not already equipped. It's not that you're not already brilliant. It's not that you need more and more of all these other things that you make it about. The true thing here, I see people saying, yes, this is for me. Okay, good. Listen, the true thing here is that you just don't have a framework. You just don't have a framework for how you can choose the story, right? And know how to deliver in any circumstance. So that's whether someone says, hey, tell me about yourself in a minute or two, or they say, hey, I'd love to do a 60-minute interview with you, or hey, you have 30 minutes to get on this stage virtually or physically and do your thing, right? You have to be able to take the same story, the story that I just basically shared with you. I've done that in a minute in the news, literally in media. I've done it in 10-minute talks, 20-minute talks, 30-minute talks. We haven't been here long. I think I've been going for about 10 minutes now, but let me tell you something. It don't take, and this is bad grammar, but it's right. It don't take all day to impact anyone else. It shouldn't have to take all day to create transformation for other people. And what I taught in the Speak with Purpose webinar this past Thursday, what I taught is that you have to understand who you want to be in the marketplace, right? Because if you want to be someone who shifts something in people, who gets to the core of what they're experiencing, who can get to the heart, who can literally articulate the pain that they're in and say, hey, I've been there, done that, and help people move through. Or I have an expertise that will allow me to help you move through. You have to be able to distinguish yourself between a trainer and a transformational speaker. You have to be able to distinguish yourself between being a trainer and a transformational speaker. Because if you keep showing up as a trainer, then people are going to treat you as a trainer. So when you are hiding the story that actually is going to help someone else believe that they can overcome something or that they can have a result in their life, you become replaceable. So now when you do, right? So now when you do want to pitch yourself to be a paid speaker, right? For those of you, like some of my clients who say, oh, I was speaking at church for 10 years and never got paid to do anything. Well, I've spoken at churches many times over the years, and I've gotten several figures, 5 figures to speak, right? It's not that folks don't have the budget. It's that you haven't positioned yourself to be in line to receive that. And as long as you keep going out like, oh, I'm just a trainer, or I can just do these things. And so you don't even realize that that's how you're showing up, because again, you're hiding that story, right? I'm speaking at an event this year. I already know that many of the other speakers are speaking for exposure. There is a time and a place to speak for exposure. And then there's a time and a place to get your money so you can pay your bills. Amen. And in Command the Stage, I teach you how to differentiate when you should do what. Because some things you just have to turn down because it's not for you, it's not your ministry. And other things you leverage to position you if it's going to put you in front of the right clients. Okay? So there's so many elements to this, but I wanted to start today by just, again, letting you know that if you listen to Speak with Purpose, I know that you got some great nuggets. I know that you had some phenomenal takeaways, but let me tell you what I also know. What I also know are that some of you go from free webinar to free webinar and you never take the time to actually invest in mastering your craft. And that's even for those of you who are like, well, I already speak. A lot of people who have come through my doors already were speaking, but they weren't necessarily making any money. They were already speaking, but they were also, just because you're not afraid to speak doesn't mean that you're actually, I'm sorry, I was reading a comment. Just because you're not afraid to speak doesn't mean you're actually a transformational speaker. It just means, okay, you're one of those people that are not afraid. But there is definitely a way, right, for you to be beyond not afraid, but for you to actually make it a valuable part of how you market yourself, especially in this marketplace where sky's the limit because of COVID. right? There are so many more opportunities for newer speakers, especially, to get booked. There's so many opportunities with virtual summits. So now it's in podcasts. So now it's not about, oh, I need to wait for some big person to invite me to this stage. It's not even about being on huge stages. It's about being on the right stage with the right message geared towards the right audience. So I've been getting a lot of questions about Command the Stage. Okay, the link is in the bio on Instagram, and I will make sure that you have the link here, right? So patricewashington.com/stage, and you can check out more about the details. But I wanted to kind of get through some of the questions. We've gotten a lot of questions about it. So let me give you an overview first. Command the Stage is my signature speaker training program. It's not anything that I thought I would ever do. I never intended on teaching people about speaking. I have been a speaker for many years, really since 2004, but I didn't start to take it seriously until 2014. So 2014, I invested in a VIP day with a coach that I found because I was tired of trying to do the low cost, no cost, I'm a piecemeal YouTube videos and download ebooks and trying to put it together, because I realized it was costing me valuable opportunities, not knowing how to show up. So I invested in this VIP day, and it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Because I realized, looking back, that having a guide to help you have accountability, give you new thoughts and ideas, and shorten the learning curve, right, is the thing. I saw someone say, if you don't have a book, how can you speak? Who needs a book to speak? What does having a book have to do with speaking? Those things are not even related. You don't need a book to speak. People will just pay you to speak. Or if you have some other service or product or program that you want to sell. When I first started speaking, I was a real estate and mortgage broker. I didn't have a book of any kind. I leveraged speaking in my community to get clients, to get real estate clients. That's how my business grew to a 7-figure business by the time I was 25 years old, because I was out speaking in Southern California, right? So if you thought, oh, well, I don't have a book, it doesn't make sense to speak, please, that's a limiting belief. That has nothing to do with anything. Each of us needs to know how to articulate ourselves so that we can get what we want and go where we want to go in the marketplace, whatever that is, right? But I've seen a lot of other questions. So I'm sorry, I was telling you. So Command the Stage is 6 weeks. It's 5 weeks because it's a 5-part framework that I teach from, but I give you a bonus week where you get accelerator content, where you get to start a week early after our welcome orientation, and you just kind of meet the community, meet my entire team. I'm not the only coach. I've actually brought on a clarity coach to help people dig even deeper. Because if you think it's just about, hey, use your voice like this, and then you pause like that, you're gonna miss it. There's so much more to it, right? So there's a lot of other things that we definitely go through. So I have a clarity coach as well as alumni ambassadors in the program to support. And I take you through my proprietary framework, right? To help you make sure that you can create an unforgettable introduction, right? We get you clear on the story that you need to choose. We get you clear on the process that you want to walk the audience through, the process that you want to walk the audience who are your prospective clients through, so that they know that you are the person for them. We get you clear on how to make a call to action that is authentic, that is not sleazy, that is not slimy, that feels good, so that you can sell whatever it is you do have. If you have a program or services or a book, or you just want people to come into your community or come and follow you in social media, whatever that is, right? There's an entire framework that I teach that was really based on me looking back over years and really analyzing what talks worked and what talks didn't. And looking at several talks, because let me tell you, the only reason I can tell you why speakers bomb is because I've bombed. This is a work in progress. I don't want you to look at me and think, oh, she's probably a natural speaker. I'm sure because I've been running my mouth my whole life, right? I used to get in trouble for talking too much. So I'm sure that, there was something there, but knowing how to channel it intentionally is what this is about. So I had a lot of Q&A stuff. If you're following on Instagram, I really suggest you find my YouTube. I think the link is in bio. Come on over because I'm going to answer a lot of the questions that people keep asking, but I actually want you to meet these amazing ladies. I invited some of my alumni from Command the Stage to come just share their stories. These are ladies that I am so proud of. I continue to stalk them in the marketplace. So I always see when they're posting and what they're posting and what they're up to. And they always keep me involved and like, hey, I did this and I did that. And I think it's really easy for me to say, oh, Command the Stage is this and that. But I think it is always helpful to hear from real people because they were on the fence at one point, I'm sure. And yet they made a choice to come on in. So come over to YouTube. My YouTube is Seek Wisdom PCW. The link should be in my Instagram bio. Come on over so you can see these ladies, see their faces, hear their stories, and join us, okay? Because I'm going to be looking at them now. So I'm not going to keep looking at you, Instagram. So y'all better come on over. All right. So first up is my girl. What I love about this young lady, Dr. Laurie, is that she is not the conventional student people would think would come into a speaker program, because Dr. Laurie is actually an opera singer and I'm not even going to steal her thunder. Let me just bring her up. She is absolutely incredible.
Hi.
Dr. Laurie!
It's your problem child.
It's my problem child, but I love her. I love her. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me. Like, for real. Thank you.
Dr. Laurie, you don't even look like the same person.
I know, right? I know. You girl, you unlocked so much in me. The whole, I'm unrecognizable from a year ago when I started Command the Stage. Unrecognizable.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Dr. Laurie. So how did you learn about Command the Stage, and why, as someone who's not a coach, well, you weren't like a coach, an author, a speaker, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. Why, as someone in your position, would you say, I need a speaker course?
I had been following you and listening to your podcast and just trying to figure out this next phase. So I'm an opera singer, but I'm also a voice professor and an arts administrator. So I run a collegiate music program. But I've been wanting to start my own company and been wanting to do the coaching and the large scale voice coaching. So I had been doing like little workshops. I've been doing it for years. And I was performing on stages for years, but having to talk on stage, see, I still get a little, because I don't have my notes. I don't have no notes, but having to talk on stage still, got me a little frazzled. So I had been following you, and it was like, okay, well, I think this will be good for me to present myself as on a different level. But I had never invested so much. I don't know how much you're going for now, but I had never invested that much into anything.
It's gone up and it'll go up next time. I keep trying.
Okay, so I ain't gonna say what, but it was the most I had ever invested in anything if it wasn't a car or something like that. But it just, I guess the spirit moved, and then because that happened before COVID, right?
Right. I had launched it before COVID, and then COVID hit.
I had my plane ticket. I had my hotel room.
COVID hit, and we were supposed to be doing it live, and we had to switch to virtual. And you came for virtual.
Yes, I'm so glad. I am so glad. So it was. I knew I wanted to do something as far as presenting and lecturing. I lecture and present at conferences, and just wanted to take it to the next level and see how far I could take it. So, yeah.
So that was the most you had ever invested at that point. But why were you like what was there something that made you on the fence when you first heard it, or were you like, no, I'm just gonna do it?
I was definitely on the fence and I hate to, you know, jump ahead, but that and P2P. So I was definitely on the fence because again, I hadn't been in those spaces. I never made, you know, more than maybe a couple hundred on a event. So I'm like, I don't really know how much I could get from this, but there was a yearning, there was a burning. It was like, okay, yeah, I just kept getting confirmation. And when I said, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do it, it was, you had done the speaking webinar, and I was like, yeah, this is what I need. Yeah. And then I called my sister.
I was gonna say, you didn't even come by yourself. You actually brought your sister, Leslie.
Yep. I was like, look, you need to, because she's already on the speaking stages and already was kind of in journalism, was her major. So that was more her lane, but I found you first. So I said, okay. I'll let her know. I guess I'll tell her about it.
I love it. Okay, Dr. Laurie, I'm going to bring up Stephanie. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So next up is Stephanie. Hey, Stephanie.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for inviting me here. I'm so excited.
I am too. I feel like we got the memo. We all have the bright lip going. I love it.
Oh, okay. Yes, I saw that. I was like, oh, it's orange today.
I love it. Okay, so now I'm calling everyone doctor because of Laurie. Dr. Melody, Dr. Laurie. Okay, Stephanie.
Yes.
So Stephanie, you came in to Command the Stage, even though you have been speaking already, and you have been in, like, I think several programs. So tell me what made you come to Command the Stage.
Well, as you said, I have been speaking like you, my whole life. I've always spoke, right? But as I entered this season of my life and getting ready to launch my book, I had done a program before, but I would go and make a talk, right? And the people would be captivated, but they would be stuck in the dumps, right? They were stuck. They would be I would be able to capture capture the audience and all of that. But I was too transparent, right?
Mm-hmm.
I told too much, and I didn't know how to bring them up. I didn't know how to talk about my process. Like, I had a whole lot of puzzle pieces that I was unclear about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I discovered through Command the Stage, that the message that God had given me years ago was not a message, it was a mindset. And I got that aha moment in Command the Stage because I didn't know how to take my process, and how do I take my process from the stage to people clamoring, to talk to me or to work with me or things like that. So being in the program helped me to put the puzzle pieces together.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of people come in with, are the puzzle pieces, because they've done different things. I remember even Taylor Glenn, I think she was in your cohort. She talked about that. Like, I've gone through all these different things, and I know that I know who I want to talk to. And I have an idea of my method, and I have an idea of all these things, but there's still a disconnect about how do I link my story,
right?
Why I do this thing, and how do I help the audience see I'm the person for you. That's the thing that we weave together so that we can put the pieces together.
That was gold.
Stephanie, I have to ask you though. So Dr. Laurie said, I've never really invested in anything like that, right? But you're like, I've done the things.
Yeah. I've invested in programs, thousands, and nothing was able to get me to the point where I can articulate and connect with the audience to the point that when they hear me speak, they know that I'm speaking to them. And the other thing that I like about what you taught us was to have courage to take a stand. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to my people, and those are the people that I want. If you come along, it's okay, but I'm not talking. it gave me the courage to own my niche or my niche.
Yeah. I love that. Oh, that is so good. You're right. You're right. So one of the big things, I love it. She said, I'm not talking to you, because that's what I do that. I do teach y'all.
I love that though.
But because you know that if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one.
Yep.
Right? If you are trying to save the world with this talk, you're going to miss the very people that you're saying you want to help, because they need to hear very specific language and very specific tone based on what your intention is for the talk. And you also talked about going too deep. And that's the thing. A lot of us have, these backstories. My story is not, I always say my little raggedy story. I'm so grateful to be here, right? Because that's not a pleasant story to tell, but you have to know how much to give and what makes sense for the audience, or you take people down. And if you don't know how to bring them back up, the talk will fall flat, and it won't be as impactful as you want it to be.
Yep. That's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly
very good.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. Okay. I can't wait to hear more about what you've been up to. Let me bring up Melody, and I'll be back.
Sure.
Okay. Now another doctor, Dr. Melody. Hi, Dr. Melody.
Right. Hi, how are you?
I'm well. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me. I always love to join and chat with you whenever I can. So thank you so much.
I'm so excited to have you. Thank you for saying yes. But also, for those of you who do listen to the Redefining Wealth podcast, Dr. Melody is actually coming up this week. Did you know?
Okay.
Well, we actually recorded a podcast episode together for my Thoughtful Money series. So, Dr. Melody, how did you find me initially, and what made you say yes to Command the Stage at the last minute? Because I think you were one of like 2 or 3 people that trickled in at the very end.
Yes. So I found you, and actually I think Stephanie just reminded me of this. When you had the Command the Stage, or was it Stephanie or Laurie, Dr. Laurie? You had the Command the Stage, which was going to be live. And so I was looking at that, and I was like, okay, my coins ain't right yet. Like, I can't go to that, but I really wanted to go to that. And so over the summer, I did the initial P2P, the program you had before P2P started. And, with COVID and everything, like, my funds still weren't exactly where they needed to be for me to join the program. But then you had Command the Stage. And so Command the Stage was something initially, that I really wanted to get into. And I was still hesitant because I'm the money girl. So, I like for my funds to be right before I jump into anything. And if you guys have heard my story, about like all the debt that I paid off, I just don't like going into debt. So I didn't jump into Command the Stage immediately, but then I received this email from you, and it was like, I have one more spot left for Command the Stage, and it is yours, if you do all these things. And that still voice said, that's your spot. And so I was sitting on the couch talking to my husband and like signing up for this Command the Stage, but at the same time, because in my heart, I knew that was like what I needed to be doing. Like, I kept putting it off. And I was like, I needed to take the leap despite like what my finances were telling me, because I just knew that, it wasn't that I didn't have it. It was just that I didn't want to give it up. Sometimes we're being in that position where it's not that you don't have it, you just don't want to release those funds. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and just sign up for this course. And honestly, it was like one of the best courses that I have ever taken. And I've taken courses. I signed up for some courses that I paid good money for and didn't even finish them because I was like, this is not what I expected it to be. But I feel like I use what I learned in Command the Stage almost every single day. Like, it was so good. It was like one of the best investments I've ever made.
I love hearing that, Dr. Melody. And I have to say that too. So we're both money girls. So I have a personal finance background. So does Dr. Melody. She's Broke on Purpose. Is her Instagram handle. And I tell people all the time, at the times that I've made investments in my business, it didn't always feel like the most logical thing to do.
Right. Yes.
But at some point, when you are called like to do something and you are very clear about, I'm going to be committed and I'm going to allow this to help take me to the next level. At some point, you got, you have to trust your gut. You have to trust your spirit. And I'm literally someone who helps folks with personal finances, but I've told you guys transparently, I paid $25,000 for a VIP day. with with a coach that I had in 2014. It was one day, 6 hours. I invested $25,000 over payments. I sure did. I put 5,000 down, 5,000 again. Yes, I did. But
you got the wrong payment.
I really believe that it was my next best step. I believed in my heart of hearts that it was my next best step. That if I just, because I had these burning questions and I didn't understand what's behind the black veil, right? Like what's behind the curtain? What's under the hood? Why every time do I see this lady, is she able to connect with people like this? Yeah, like why every time I'm in this woman's presence, do I feel like this? I want to understand that. And I got some of it. And what I tell people all the time is one thing can change everything.
That's right.
To this day, I have not used 100% of what I learned in that VIP day, but I took the things that I could implement immediately and put into practice. And those became my next best step. And a couple months later, I ended up booking my gig. I was supposed to be on the Steve Harvey Morning Show, nationally syndicated radio show one time. I saw someone, Leo, said, hey, I used to listen to you on the Steve Harvey Show. Well, let me tell you, Leo, 3 weeks before I went on that show for the first time is when I had that VIP day. And some of the things that I learned, I implemented in that interview. And they said, hey, we should have you back. And I was like, okay. And I came back a couple of weeks later and they were like, we should have you back because people are emailing and asking questions. They want you to answer questions. Right. And I said, okay. And then by the time I went back, that was January 2014. By the time I went back in April, they were like, can you just come on every week? So that $25,000 investment, which was not something that was like, oh, I just had it laying around like that. I didn't, but I knew how to put a program together, baby, and sell something so that I knew how to use what I did have to invest in the people who were coming behind me. So I could take this and invest in where I saw myself going, right? Which was to be more on par with the woman I'm referring to. And it was the best thing I could have done. It beyond paid for itself. I did 4 years and was booked to speak all over the country over and over and over again and get other media opportunities and sell books and do all the things, right? So when I left in 2018, after 4 years of something that was supposed to be a one-time thing, all because I knew how to articulate myself in a 6-minute interview, I'm telling you guys, we sell clarity short.
Yeah. And I think that's one reason why I wanted to do Command the Stage so much is because I would listen to you speak and the way you would connect and the way you would be able to authentically tell your story each and every time. And it would just be and I've heard it before, but every time I heard it, it would be I was hearing something new because of the way you were delivering it. And I was like, well, I need to know how to tell my story like that. So okay, I've been speaking before, I've done interviews before, I've been, on the scene before, but never in the way that you were doing it. And so that's what I really wanted to learn, exactly how could I connect with my audience and share my story, which is kind of a common story, but with a different spin, and really be able to connect to the people that I was trying to reach. I wasn't trying to reach your everyday somebody, I was trying to talk to a specific set of people and help them with their money in a specific way. And so I feel like with Command the Stage, now that when I do go and tell my story, I tell it in the way that you taught me to tell it, leaving out a lot of that beginning stuff with my past. But I really am able to connect with people and they can really see themselves in my story. And I think that's what's so great about Command the Stage is it allows you to allow people to step inside your life and then see where they are and then see that transformation that whatever you're offering is going to allow to happen.
Mm-hmm. So good. So good. Dr. Melody, they are giving you hearts on Instagram. They're just listening. Y'all still just listening. Come on over to YouTube. I've pinned the comments so you can come over to the YouTube page or click the link in my bio. So thank you so much for that, Dr. Melody. I'm going to bring everyone up. So you guys, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat. Drop your questions in the chat. And my esteemed panel here is going to help answer some of the questions. So I would like to just get us started. So I saw some people say, so what are you guys, just remind people of what your niche is, and then what are you doing now in terms of how you've been able to leverage what you learned in Command the Stage? So I'll start with Stephanie.
So I am right after, well, actually in the middle of it, I was writing my memoir, right? And the one thing I wanted to say too, and listen to Dr. Melody reminded me of it. Even though I had been speaking for a long time, I had lost my confidence. Mm-hmm. And one thing that Command the Stage has done for me is given me my confidence back, that if I am anywhere at any time, somebody can ask me at the last minute to come up and speak, and I got it because it's here. I always used to use notes and all this kind of stuff and feel nervous, because I saw Patrice speaking one time here in Tampa Bay. And I just was captivated by how she told her story, because I always wanted to tell my story with no notes. And so now I can tell my story at any time, and it just flows. And so what I'm doing now, I'm getting ready to finishing up my book, and I'm just going to be working on launching my book. I'll tell you what else, being able to tell my story, it helped me to figure out that I had been targeting the wrong people. Yeah. And so I was targeting people that couldn't pay.
Look, everybody said, I think you said something with that one. I think we've all been there.
And it gave me the confidence to own the space that will appreciate me. So so when I launch my book, I know who I need to launch it, how I need to launch it, and the places I need to show up. So that's what it's done for me, giving me my confidence back.
I love it. I love that. I hear that so often, that it's the confidence, right? Like when that's what stops a lot of us from speaking. We don't know what to say, when to say, how long to say it, how far to go. And once you get it down, and to Stephanie's point, without notes, I don't teach them to use a script word for word, because it doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel authentic. And you have to be able to move based on who's in the audience. Mm-hmm. So you can know your story and the framework for your story as we teach and Command the Stage. But, right, as you navigate different audiences, you'll know, okay, well, this story is for them, or I need to alter some of the details, and I don't need to go here with that deep for them. I could do this, but it's more intuitive for you, right? I love that. So I saw everybody laugh though when Stephanie said, I was targeting the wrong people. I was talking to people that couldn't pay me. Dr. Laurie fell out. Dr. Melody fell out. I gave a little nod because we definitely talk about that. Dr. Laurie, why did that make you laugh?
Because you had to snatch my edges on that. What I was charging for my coaching sessions with all my degrees, she was like, but you have a doctorate. I'm like, but I did not see the audience that I could really speak to. Yeah, I didn't see my worth, and I didn't have that. I didn't have it laid out. Yeah.
So Dr. Laurie, though, every time I see your Facebook page or I catch a little Instagram, you doing your boot camps, you doing your thing, you're doing events. So, okay, how are we doing now?
We're taking a little break in these next few weeks, but we're planning for the next quarter. So I'm getting back to my master classes. I've had people from all over the world come in and on the master classes. I'm working on a reality show, a vocal coaching reality show, a podcast, which I never even considered a podcast before. And it's a lot, a book. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm working on a lot. God is good.
Oh my God. You know what though? Again, we underestimate clarity. We underestimate clarity. So many people are like, oh, I just need some quick tactics. No, what you need is some clarity, because clarity will open up the doors to so much more than you thought possible. Right. So yeah, I didn't hear about some of these other things. I knew we were doing master classes, but this is amazing. I'm so
app. Yeah, I'm working on an app for my vocal training program. So just everything is just like it's pivoting, slightly progress. Okay, and now let's figure this out. Let's try something else, and taking everything to the next level. So yeah, all unlocked from CTS.
Oh my gosh.
It's
That's
crazy.
incredible. That's
And
incredible.
the doors that have opened, yeah, they're still opening. And then I've just been in position. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready. Working on me, working on my mindset, working on everything. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay, and Dr. Melody, before I jump into some questions in the chat, I saw you laugh too, but I know you also had like some great things happen over the last couple months since you graduated from Command the Stage. Can you share any of those things?
Yeah, I sure can. So we kind of talked about this on your podcast. So I feel like Command the Stage for me was basically a test of obedience, you know, because your stuff had came up before, you know, and I said, well, I got the money, but I don't want to spend it on this because I feel like, what if I need it for something else? And then, you know, P2P came up and I was like, oh, I'm going to hold off again. And then Command the Stage came up again. And this time, like I had that push that was like, this, you should do this. And so after taking Command the Stage, you know, I felt more confident in being able to share my story. And I think somebody asked what I do. So before I still am. I'm a financial empowerment coach and a certified financial education instructor. And so I own the brand called Broke on Purpose, and I help people create money management systems. And that's just in a nutshell. So after I finished Command the Stage, like I was like gung ho, like, okay, I'm going to, you know, have all these courses, start doing all these different things. I had just launched the Budget Reboot Workshop that had gone through its first phase. And then I got the opportunity of a lifetime. And this is something that I have been praying for like over and over again, but it came to me packaged completely different than what I ever expected it to look like. And so right now I am working as the financial literacy lead for the Black-owned digital bank called First Boulevard. So if you guys have not checked out First Boulevard, please head over to bankblvd.com because we are doing some amazing things. And I'm the financial literacy lead there. And again, I said it was everything that I prayed for, but packaged differently. I prayed for a team. I prayed for resources. I prayed for a bigger platform. I prayed to be able to help more people. And I thought I was going to do that through Broke on Purpose. And I felt like Command the Stage had set me up in a way that I was going to be able to tell my story more authentically and be able to reach so many more people through Broke on Purpose. But now I'm able to do that, but I'm able to do it through First Boulevard. So again, it was just like a lesson or a test in obedience from God, because I felt like if he was like, if you don't go to this class, even though you're scared about this money, if you don't do this class, you're going to miss out on an opportunity. So I'm just really glad that I did it.
I love it. I love that, Dr. Melody. And we have so many people who said, I use what I learned to Command the Stage at my job. One of the things that we talk about, I see everybody shaking their head. One of the things that we talk about are people who feel like there are folks who are less talented than me that are moving up because they're able to make some noise.
Uh-oh. So I think she's going to jump back on, guys.
The devil is a lie. Oh,
How is that? That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure she's going to jump back on.
Unless it was just her internet.
Yeah.
All
right. So do you guys want to go like and look through some of the questions that they have? Oh, wait, here she is. Okay.
That was the weirdest thing. It just literally went away. I was like, okay. Instagram, you saw the whole breakdown. Don't laugh at me. You saw my whole heart drop when everything went away. But I was just sharing that there's so many people who come through Command the Stage and they say, it's allowed me to be more vocal in my workplace. Like it's allowed me to communicate more effectively what I want, or people who are speaking to stakeholders and for on behalf of the company and using a part of like your story or using something, right? Because it's not about just that story. Once you understand the framework, you can apply it to anything. You can literally run any talk, presentation, webinar, interview through that framework and know that you've hit it, right? When you have an opportunity to use your voice. And so I love that. I'm so proud of you, Dr. Melody, rooting for you. So let's see. Let me go back down. So Perlette says, I don't have everything packaged and ready. Do I need to have all that before I join? What do you guys say?
No,
not at all.
We'll learn it.
Nothing.
And Teresa take what you thought you had and be like, girl, you're not using that. Don't try that out. You're not using that. So you'll come thinking you're ready and she'll be like, you're starting back at level 1. At least that's how I felt. So, so you don't have to have everything packaged.
Or you'll already have stuff, right? But it wasn't being used in the right way. And so you sort of repurpose it, you repackage it, and you're able to relaunch it.
Yeah. Yeah. More
So
authenticity and with more clarity.
Yep.
I came in with, I'm talking vocal technique and this and this and this. And you was like, well, what's your story? What are you talking about? So I wasn't even owning my own story before this. And it just was a huge disconnect. So yeah, I had nothing. So yeah, come on.
So yeah, Parlette, I actually like for people to have nothing because I can help you like set a strong foundation instead of what happens to a lot of people. They do come in and they're like, oh, okay, so wait. And because I'm gonna keep it real with you too. And I'm gonna let you know, like, okay, well, this is probably the disconnect. I think for all of you guys, I probably pinpointed like, okay, here's the disconnect. Like, I remember Dr. Melody has all these fancy titles. Dr. Melody, it has this, I still don't know how to say it. I'll never know how to say it. But she was opening the talk with that. And I was like, we don't know what that means. And if I'm broke right now, I actually don't care what that like what
you're exactly right. You're exactly right. And I was coming in and I was announcing like my accolades, like what I had done, who I was. And I had taken that from my scientific background because I'm used to being one of the only in the room. And so when I walked in the room, I had to command the room in that manner instead of commanding the room by sharing my authentic story. I had to come in and let people know like who I was. And Patrice was like, no, you're not doing that anymore. So I don't even do that. I just jump right into my story. And if they want to read about that, they can check out my bio. So.
Right. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I think we did that. I mean, so, and let me say this, because I know people have asked, there's a question that keeps coming up about, here's one I keep getting, you guys. Am I actually there? Like people keep asking, are you actually teaching?
Oh.
Yeah, these are not pre-recorded lessons that you just happen to go through on your own time. Like Patrice is there. She's teaching you. She is walking you through it. So again,
and you better do your homework.
Very different experience from some other, coaching courses that you may have taken, which is why I loved it so much. It was very like hands-on.
Yeah, I'm definitely there. I definitely teach live weekly. So besides the pre-accelerator trainings, which are recorded now, just to give people a chance to go through that work. Does anyone even want to talk about the pre-accelerator stuff? Do you guys remember that you had to do a little homework before we started?
Yeah. Okay. So Dr. Laurie was saying she was a problem child. I feel like in my group, I was the problem child because I was just lost. Like let me tell you, you have to do the pre-accelerator. You have to do that. And you have to join like the small group. If I hadn't done the small group, I would have still been lost because I had too much of doing it the wrong way. Mm-hmm. And Patrice was like, okay, I'm gonna have to roll up my sleeves to help you because she was like, and she gave me permission to be my authentic self because I was presenting Stephanie on stage and I really didn't want to do that, but I didn't know any other kind of way to do it. And she was like, wait a minute. Now I know you don't talk to your girlfriends like that, and she was like, no, we're not doing speaker Stephanie. We're doing Stephanie telling her authentic, transparent story. So I highly recommend that because you get her to roll up her sleeves on your story because don't think that you don't need it. Okay. You need it. That was the goal. If I hadn't had that, I would probably still be lost.
Mm-hmm. So I'll be transparent with you guys though. All of those spots are gone. So for anybody who was like, oh, I was on the fence and I've been going back and forth and I keep looking at the page. And I did 30 spots instead of 25 like last time just to make more room. And those 30 seats were gone the night I did the webinar, which was Thursday night. So what I've done to make sure that people still feel supported, because let's be real, right? There are very few things that you can do where you're going to get the actual person. Like the fact that I am actually the person that teaches you live. And even when we had with Dr. Melody, when I was like, girl, what does that mean? That wasn't in a small group. That was during a live weekly session, right? So I'm still able, right, to help people and support even on the live sessions. But I hired a clarity coach to come in and create another call. So Monday nights I teach live, but Thursday nights, the clarity coach is going to make sure that people who don't have access to the small group still have a more intimate setting to help connect the dots. We also, Dr. Laurie, we didn't have this when you came through, but we also now have alumni ambassadors who are there, right, to help people, support people, help you figure out where you get stuck, all those things to help you keep moving forward. Because the reality is, if I were to limit this, I literally pour everything into, not only teaching the lives, but also the small groups. I'm not going to teach Command the Stage 50 times a year. I'm sorry. Because I'm actually still a speaker, and I'm actually still a media personality. And I actually still have a lot of other things to do outside of my work pillar. And so the truth is, I don't even know if we'll have small groups in the future. So for people who are like, oh, I'm gonna hold on and wait to see if she does small groups, it's a heavy lift. It is a heavy lift. And a lot of the stories are heavy stories. And I have to pull so much up and out to help people move through those stories and take on so much, right? And I realized that personally, that was taking a toll because we do the classes at night. And some nights I couldn't sleep because I'm still holding some of that stuff, right? So in order to still serve though, I believe I'm just gonna have more and more coaches to help people work through. And that's what we're doing this time. So I saw a few people say, can you tell me when the next one is? I can't, because I can't tell you if there's another one. Let me say this too. I think it's similar to what Dr. Melody said, right? She said, how did you say it? You had saw it the first time and then you're like, well, I don't want to redirect funds to that. And then you're like, but it was still kind of in you, net, right? So just so happens I was able to do it again because of COVID, because we were still in COVID. But the truth is, I don't know if I'll be called to still do it in a live format. So I can't say that you're still going to have it this way every time. This is only a program I've been doing for a year. So, I always teach my clients that you start where you are and you keep tweaking and you keep improving and you also adjust for lifestyle. And based on lifestyle, I don't know that I will always do it in this format. So if you want to coach with me live, and also know that even for people who didn't do small groups, I still knew them. I still knew their stories. I still heard what they were talking about. I still saw what they were working on. I still gave feedback in our Facebook group. There's still a lot of support, right? I saw someone say, I think it was Roberta. I can't find it. But Roberta asked, Roberta, what did you ask? I think she just asked, what was your absolute favorite part of Command the Stage?
Reading you my story when I finished my my talk and just your reaction. You were just, everything had come together and you were just so proud. And I was like, I did it. Okay. I did it.
I know. I am incredibly proud every time I hear, because you see, we do our welcome videos in the beginning and everybody has that I don't know, I'm just here, I'm hoping, right? And then to see people end with such confidence and having that framework, it really does make me feel so good. That is fulfilling for me as a coach to just know they got it. And because I know that it all comes together. Because what do I say the whole time from week one? Trust the process.
Yeah.
Because boy, do y'all try to wear me out on week one. When we gonna get to listen? Trust the process. I know what I'm doing. So anyone else? I think Dr. Stephanie said small groups. Anything else?
For me,
I'm making you a Dr. Stephanie. I'm sorry. It's a doctor.
Speak it. Okay. Well, what I like is the genuine love amongst the other and support amongst all of the women. Everybody is so positive and supportive and would jump in and help and love on, support, showing up for each other. I really like that. And I feel like, Patrice attracts a certain kind of person and that has a certain kind of heart. And I found that everybody had that type of heart of love and support and cheering each other on and all of that. I thought that was really, really good. Amongst women and amongst women.
Yeah, it's an incredible experience. And what I've loved, I saw even when we were in it, Dr. Melody, you got together with, I think, Jennifer. Was it Jennifer Bell? You got together with a few other ladies and you guys actually did something virtually together while you were still going through Command the Stage.
Yeah, so I wasn't able to get with Jennifer, but I know that she did do something where they were doing something virtually. And I know in our cohort, what we did was we split out into the people who weren't in small groups, we split out into even smaller groups. And we started practicing with each other and we would record these in Zoom sessions, right? And so we were able to critique each other in that way. We would say, okay, how did that sound? Should I change it? What should I, include? And then we were able to, and I think some people did this, you could actually take that and cut it up into using it as a speaker reel. And I think, Patrice, that's something you suggested for us to do. And I took the initiative on just putting that together so that we all could have groups that we worked with and we could, use that as speaker reels. And so, and for me, just like Stephanie said, it was really the community. I mean, you gain so many friendships from being in Command the Stage because, again, it is a different caliber of women who are in this group and you're sharing your honest stories, right? And so you're putting it all out there. Everybody knows so much about you and you really just want to connect with them and just stay with them along the way. And so I have so many friendships from here. And I think Marsha Ann was in here earlier. So definitely love Marsha Ann and everything that she does to support me. And, I support her, but it really is the community that grows from Command the Stage because you authentically want to see other people doing well and sharing their stories.
Absolutely. Yes. Community is everything. So Jennifer Bell, thank you for correcting me. Denise Taylor, Cleo Childress, and Jennifer actually collaborated while they were still in Command the Stage. And I saw someone else's comment that I just want to highlight. Kimberly says, yes, Patrice creates communities of true sisterhood. I just did P2P and the sisterhood is unreal. And we're not just saying that. I literally still see people from different seasons now of Command the Stage or different seasons of P2P. And I don't know how y'all find each other. You're like, oh, you did Patrice's program? You did? Oh, we're going to do something. And I just see flyers with people popping up. I just see flyers with people popping up and I absolutely love it. And that goes back to what Stephanie was talking about using specific language when you speak so you attract the right clients. It's very intentional that my programs are what they are, right? Because I want to be a repellent for people who don't value community. Right? That I'm completely okay with that because I realize that greatness is not created in isolation. There is no way that you're actually going to get to your next level if you are not willing to open up and support others and also allow yourself to be supported. There's no way, right? And many of the people who come into the program are used to being lone rangers. Many of the women who come into my programs are used to being the person who does everything by themselves. I'll figure it out. And you don't ever have anyone to bounce things off of. And so when people keep asking me questions can you train me one-on-one? I could, but you're going to miss out on the beauty of community because at the end of the day, your sisters are going to be your first interviews. You guys are going to go live together. You guys are going to have an opportunity to really support each other. And honestly, if you trained with me one-on-one, it's not going to be $1 less than about $18,000. And you're going to do a VIP day and it'll be 6 hours, right? And from what I've heard, and I'll water hose you with everything that I teach over these 6 weeks. And from what I've heard from CTS students, they're like, I needed the time. I needed the time. I needed a moment to process. I needed time to do my homework. I really don't know that I could have done this in one day. But the big piece is, yeah, you can get the framework, but the confidence is built in community. The confidence is built in community, and the curriculum is amazing. But if you don't have people around that are also encouraging you and supporting you, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. And so it's Juan. So Juan actually asked another question that I keep getting. Juan, people keep asking me, why can't men attend? Why can't men attend? He said, do you have room for men? In Purpose to Platform, I don't. But in Command the Stage, I think it's time to let some guys in. I really do. Because I get feedback from men all the time. And this framework works for anyone. Once you know it, right? The thing would be, Juan, I haven't met any guys that are that brave. Because you're going to be one of one. You will likely be one of one, right? But if you're not intimidated by that, you are more than welcome. If you're not intimidated by that, you're more than welcome. I used to coach men back in the day. My heart is really to serve women, but the message of redefining wealth and what I do has gone so far. I used to have insights that would say I was like 91% women, right? That's down to 70 something percent. So more and more men are getting on to this message of redefining wealth and of chase purpose, not money. And I think I do people a disservice if I open them up to possibility and then send them someplace where the atmosphere is not rooted in that, right? Where you're not rooted in authenticity, where you're not encouraged, like Stephanie said, to just be yourself versus be the speaker, Stephanie, on stage. Don't nobody need all that, right? Juan said, I am brave. Well, come on, Juan. PatriceWashington.com/stage. Come on over. Don't forget your coupon code, Transform 2021. Juan said, I'm ready. Transform 2021 will get you $500 off through tonight, actually. Let's see. I'm sure I was missing questions just in all that chatting. I know I have to let these awesome ladies go. Ramita says, what's the difference between Command the Stage and P2P? So Command the Stage is a speaker training. All I do is teach you a framework for how to give your signature talk. So it would be great if you came in with some idea of what you wanted to talk about or who you wanted to support. You don't have to have it all, but you need to have something. What in Dr. Laurie's case, Dr. Laurie came in, did Command the Stage, and then was like, now I can attract all these people, but what do I sell them? What do I offer? What are my services? How do I put all that together? So Purpose to Platform is actually a 12-week business incubator where we help you really nurture who are you in the marketplace? What are you called to do? We help you choose your best possible platform to deliver that, right? And really just get, again, confident with your voice. Get confident with building your voice in the marketplace. So they're not the same. They're like not even remotely the same. They have two completely different intentions. Purpose to Platform, the intention is to help you take what you feel like you are called to do and build a platform in the marketplace authentically, with integrity, boost your influence, your impact, and your income, but with integrity. So not being who everybody else, everyone who comes through Purpose to Platform ends up doing something different. Yeah, everyone does something different because we're not cookie cutter. We're not homogenous. You should do something different, right? Someone says, I strongly recommend P2P first and then Command the Stage. I don't know. I've heard it both ways. I know people who are like, I did Command the Stage first and I'm glad I did. So
I recommend you sign up for what she's doing. Whatever she's doing, you sign up. Whatever order that's in.
Yeah, because I think it just depends on at what point you come in. And there's no guarantee that, I'm going to offer anything. Like, there's just not a guarantee. There's an intention, but there's no guarantee. The reality is I may not do Command the Stage again until 2022. And what I tell people is, how long are you going to wait? You've already allowed so many opportunities to go by. You've already said yes to some things and then gone, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. And left the experience not feeling like you gave it your best possible shot. Like, you've already started to do things, or you haven't done anything because you don't know what to say. So you keep saying nothing, right? So how long are you going to do that? You're going to wait and see if I do it next year? Do you know how much business you can lose in the next year? Do you know how many opportunities could walk by you over the next year? Like, do you know how much money you're leaving on the table? Do you know the peace that it's costing you being frazzled about this? Anybody else want to speak to that whole, like,
Yeah.
I'll wait another year?
I do, okay, because not having, knowing that you have a purpose and not having clarity about how to fulfill that purpose is the most frustrating thing ever, okay? The only thing we don't get back is time. That's the only thing that's non-renewable. And man, now I have the freedom to do what God has called me to do, because now I can talk about it in a way that helps others. Okay. Like, I think Patrice says, you know, and on the podcast, she said something like, there are people waiting on you. Okay. So my topic is forgiveness. There are people who are literally about to commit suicide. There are people that are staying in relationships and spaces and places that they shouldn't be in because either they can't forgive themselves or they can't forgive somebody else, and they're stuck. And I didn't know that that was actually true until I met the person that heard my voice and could hear my message. And now they are moving forward. So the day you hear the voice, that's when you need to act.
Mm-hmm.
If I can say, if I had continued another year the way I had been, I don't think I'd be here. Because last year I was in the hospital with stress and, at one of the lowest points in my life. And it was like, okay, if I continue like this, yeah, there won't be a Dr. Laurie. So yeah, I had to make some drastic changes, and it definitely started with Command the Stage. Everything is totally different. Yeah.
And I'll say this. So one of the things that I've adopted this year, and I really wish I would have adopted it last year, is the thought process of chasing failure, right? So a lot of times we don't want to go after something because we're afraid of what it might look like on the other side. Like, what if it doesn't look like the way we wanted it to look? What if we don't come out of here thinking that we have a story to tell? And you put yourself in a position where you're just stagnant and stuck. And so I have adopted the mindset of chasing failure. And so that means whatever's in front of me, no matter how afraid I am, no matter what it looks like, I'm going to go after it. And then I'll deal with whatever I receive on the other side, because you're not going to walk away empty-handed. Even if you do fail, you've learned something from that failure. You've learned how you can move forward. You've learned how you can pivot. You've learned what you need to do next time so that you can get to the point of having success. And so with me, as I shared before, going into Command the Stage, I felt like was a test of obedience, because I kept denying it and saying, not this time, not this time, not this time. But as soon as I got into Command the Stage, a lot of doors started opening for me that I never knew even existed. And it was only because I took that chance of just chasing failure. And so if you're afraid, if you're stuck, if you're on the side and you're just thinking, okay, maybe next time, don't worry about the investment, because this class is going to pay for itself over and over and over and over again. Every single day, you are going to use something from this class. So it's not going to be a wasted investment. Don't look at it like that. Just take what you need from it and put it to work, and you will get dividends on dividends back to you, compounded.
Yeah. So good. Thank you guys. Thank you all for that. That's why I love having actual students, because I can sit here and tell you, all the things, but at the end of the day, right, for people to give up, for these women who are all busy and doing their thing, to give up their Sunday evening just to share with you their experience, I believe says a lot. We have ladies who are volunteering to be alumni ambassadors because they believe in it so much. They know what's on the other side when people get clarity around their story. And I love this, Jennifer Bell, 38 years suffering in silence. Freedom started from Command the Stage for me. right? Jennifer did Command the Stage first and then P2P. So I agree. Whoever said, look, Dr. Laurie said, whatever she's offering, do it, because it's not, like I said, I'm not just someone who's teaching these courses. I actually still do the work. You know, some people are like, oh, I can teach you how to do the thing, and the only thing they get paid to do is teach you. Okay, no, this is a part of what I do. This is not all of what I do, because I'm actually still doing these things that I'm teaching. And so you're not getting this from a coach who's like, oh, this is what worked for me 10 years ago. I always come and share what's really happening right now. If I have a learning, like a lesson that I'm learning from, or something that's happened with one of my brand partners, or something that happened with a speaking engagement, or a deal came up, I'm also sharing that. So one thing I saw someone say that I was really transparent. One thing about my clients is they know that it's, you know, now that you've gone through Command the Stage, the work is not just like, here's how you speak. No, we're shifting mindsets. We're uprooting limiting beliefs. Like, we are doing so much more work than like, here's step 1, step 2, step 3 about how to put your speech together. There is a lot more going on. There's a lot more going on than just that, I have to say. I had someone pin that said, is it closed? No, we don't close the doors until the 16th. So if you go to patricewashington.com/stage, you should still be able to register right now. There's a code that you can still use, Transform 2021, and you'll get $500 off through tonight. And then I saw someone else, I think on Instagram. I can't believe you guys have been hanging out on Instagram this whole time. You just listening to voices. You could have come to the YouTube page so you can see these beautiful ladies. Payment options available. Yes, there's a 2-pay option, and you can still use the discount code even with the 2-pay option. Yes. So I think one of the last things that I wanted to make sure that we tackled is how much time it'll take, because I know everyone's, you know, busy, you have a life, you have family, you have things going on. That's interesting. It's saying sold out. I don't know how, because people are registering right now. You might have to clear your cookies. So if you've been to this page before, maybe last year at some point, and you didn't do something, perhaps it's just coming up like because you have to clear your cookies. But if you go to patricewashington.com /stage, it's definitely still there. We're not closed yet. We're not going to close until this Friday, the 16th. But the time that it will take is one that I keep hearing about. What do you guys think?
Sorry, I didn't know that was for us.
From your perspective, I know what I think, but I mean, you know, Stephanie says she was my problem child, so Stephanie probably spent a little more time. You know, I don't know.
For me, I was going in and I was readjusting my message and adding more, you know, pieces to it. So I don't feel like it took a lot of time where I was having to do it every single night. So you do have the class that you take. There is pre-work. And so I was committed to that. So I made sure that I showed up for the class. I made sure that I practiced. I made sure that I did the work. But I wouldn't say that it's going to take all of your time. And again, it's going to be different for everybody, right? So if you come in and you really you don't know what you want to talk about, that might take you a little bit longer to craft whatever that message is. If you're coming in and you have an idea what you want to talk about, now you're putting in pieces. For me, it was having to readjust and change things around and adding more, intimacy into the story, you know, and that's what it was for me. So that took me some time, but I want to say again, it does not take like your entire week to go through a lesson.
Yeah, the homework is.
I would say.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I would say, you know, as you're going through the process, like she was saying, trust the process. I would think it takes like a couple hours. You know, you want to go in and do the pre-work and be prepared. It probably takes a couple hours for you to just like work through the exercises and answer the questions or whatever per week. It was not overwhelming at all.
But it's not quick work either.
Right. Yeah. It's pulling out, it's causing you to think, you know, and I know that's a lot of times we don't want to take time to think, but you got to think.
And I couldn't imagine, you talk about doing this in one day. Originally, we were supposed to do this in a weekend with the original format. I still couldn't imagine getting as much out, even over that weekend. You need this time for it to marinate and think about it and process it, and then pull all of that out of you. So spend the time, but no, it's not hours on hours on hours and everyday work.
No, it's not. And I also said, I always say, how committed are you? Are you interested in being a thought leader? Are you interested in being transformational with your speech? Like, are you interested in actually commanding the stage, or are you committed? Because if you're committed, you're going to look at the calendar and block time and make time to do it. I literally, right before coming on here, I'm getting an MBA right now. I have been studying. I have an exam tonight. I've been studying for 7 hours. 7 hours. I'm doing this live with you guys. I'm going to go have dinner with my family, and then I'm going to come back downstairs and take my exam. I'm committed to getting this MBA in behavioral finance. I'm not interested. I'm committed. This is coming off of a week of spring break in California, taking my mom to doctor's appointments, toting my daughter all around LA, like doing all the things, but I'm committed to this, right? And so, I think sometimes you guys are looking for an out, right? You're looking for, because I'm so busy right now. Most of the things, if you're honest, like if you're honest, how much time do you really spend doing things that are not serving you, that are not moving you forward, that are not helping you build your platform, that are not helping you do anything in particular, get to the next level, and definitely not helping you serve the people that are on your heart. Like, I love how Stephanie talked about the people that are on her, people are like suffering if she doesn't pull this together. The people you are called to serve are not sleeping at night because you won't show up and stand up and tell that story in a way that compels them, right? So there's a difference. Yes, Dr. Angela, hey friend, there's a difference between interest and commitment. If you are committed, you will show up and do the work.
And this is an investment too, right? So it's an investment of not only just your finances, but it's of your time, it's of your mind. Like, all of you has to be invested into this process to get out of it what you want to get out of it. So if you're thinking about, well, I don't know how much time I'm going to be able to put to it, then that's something that you really need to consider before investing, because this is an investment of all of you to get the most out of it. Like, you can't become a transformational speaker by only doing half of the work. So,
yeah, I tell the ladies all the time, this is 10 years in the making, and I'm breaking this down, removing all the fluff and literally giving you step-by-step framework that's going to help your journey be accelerated in 6 weeks. Like, you're already going to save a lot of time. Like, if you just show up and focus for those 6 weeks, you will save time, right? In the bigger scheme of things. Because if you don't know this, can you guys even say, how long do you think it would have taken you to figure out what you learned in Command the Stage if you just did it on your own?
I wouldn't have. Like,
I had been doing it on my own, okay?
No.
And I wasn't getting anywhere. The last time I took a speaking, I think it was 2018, and it got me started, but it didn't give me what I needed here. Like, it was completely different experience. It was just it was different.
Yeah.
It served in, but if I had gotten this first, who knows where I'd be at this point.
Yeah.
I was thinking of taking Toastmasters before, like, Command the Stage. Like, that's how much I wanted to learn how to speak. Like, I was thinking of just going to Toastmasters and signing up for those classes and maybe getting something from there. But even if I would have done that, they would have never been able to pull the story out of me the way Patrice was able to pull the story out of me. And instead of coming in with my accolades, like who I am, I came in with, this is what happened to me. And as a result, this is where I am. Right. So that's the story I'm able to tell now. So I don't start off with, I'm this fabulous person. I start off with, this is where I was, and this is how I got out of that position. And I would have never been able to tell that story if I had not have gone through Command the Stage and learned the framework for actually talking about my process and my story. And like she said, you can use that framework with anything that you're working on. Like I have something that I have to do on Monday. I'm already like, all right, Mountain Valley Mountain, like how am I going to do this? Putting it together.
Every time. Doesn't matter. If you got
Dr. Melody,
60 minutes.
I started out in Toastmasters, okay? You wouldn't have gotten this. I've done all the things.
Yeah. So Tina says, is the coaching online, recorded, or a set time, daily, weekly? So I show up live. So we do a live coaching session or a training session where I walk you through and we build upon what you learned each week. You leave that session after about 90 minutes with homework. If we really on a roll, though, I'm not going to lie. So it's Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern, right? It depends on who's asking questions. It's not always me, right? But we go for about 90 minutes. It's 6 p.m. Eastern on Mondays. The clarity calls that we have on Thursdays are about 60 minutes with our coach, Jatia Jones. Now, those are not mandatory. If you can do anything live, you should be there when I teach the framework live so you understand the method behind why we do what we do. But you do have access to the recordings within 24 hours, and you'll have access to the recordings, right? Not a lifetime. You'll have access to the recordings throughout the program, and then typically I'll give you a few extra weeks to go back and get access to anything that you may have missed. But it's really suggested that you kind of stay with it because they build on top of each other. It's definitely a building block type of thing. And yes, so Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern, Tina. And Tina, you are diligent because you asked me on Instagram and YouTube, girl. I got you. 6 p.m. Eastern on Mondays every week. And we start on, actually our welcome orientation is on Sunday, April 18th. So next Sunday. We're going to do our welcome orientation so you can see everyone that's in your cohort. You'll have folks from all over the world who have joined. And then you go into a week of doing your pre-work, and then we start classes on Monday, the 26th. Am I saying that correctly? Yep, we start classes Monday, the 26th. So ladies, I think I answered everyone's questions. I'm trying to get questions from Instagram too. So ladies, I want to thank you so much for your time. I appreciate all of you. I'm so proud of each of you. I would love for you to just give some parting words. I know there's someone who is here. I know there's someone who's here who is on the fence. They're like, but I'm because I teach you, everyone thinks they're special. They're like, but I'm a such and such person. I don't know if this is going to work for me. Everyone has a story. Life's a stage. William Shakespeare said it, right? All the world's a stage. Doesn't really matter what you teach. Dr. Laurie is a voice coach and an opera singer. Right? Melody has a finance background as well, personal finance, and some other fancy stuff that she has that we don't know how to pronounce, right? Stephanie is a forgiveness coach. The ladies, like all of the participants, have come from completely different backgrounds, health and wellness, business, whatever. Doesn't matter. You have a story to share. And more than likely, what you are looking to do in the world stems from some story that you're too afraid to put out there, or you don't even realize is relevant. And so you're like, well, nobody cares about that. Let me try to say fancy things that people want to hear. They actually don't want to hear that. And the goal of Command the Stage is to help you get clear on that story and then make the connection to how you can serve people. So with that being said, ladies, I would love to just go through and ask you to give some parting words. Someone's on the fence. They're like, I don't know. Is this really for me? Dr. Stephanie. We're gonna claim it.
Maybe this is prophetic. I've been trying.
I think this is prophetic. Future Dr. Stephanie, just tell
me, right? One of the things that I feel like people that are purpose driven that have a trouble with, or they feel like that what holds them back is the imposter syndrome. One thing that this did was it helped me to own all of my story in a way that I can help more people. So if you're called, if you know you're called, like deep down inside, because that's where I was. My purpose was trapped inside. Like I knew I had greatness inside, but I couldn't get it out. but now I have the freedom. And I don't even care about the imposter syndrome anymore, because I own my story, I claim my story, and now I have the courage to share my story so I can do really what God has called me to do.
I love it. I love it. I want everyone to have that freedom. Dr. Laurie.
Well, I would just recommend you take a moment and think about your future. And if you want to continue in the same path or in the same methods that you have been. And I really can't imagine, what I would be doing this year if I had not taken that step. So it's definitely worth it. You have to do the work. And it's worth it. It's necessary work that will unlock things in you that you didn't even realize were there, and levels that you didn't realize you could be reaching. Community. I did forget to mention that because I wouldn't always make it to the groups, but the community, the accountability, and we're still supporting each other. It really is a situation I don't think I would have been able to find anywhere else. So I think it's worth it. I think you should take the time to invest in yourself, and just get ready. Just get ready for all the snatching, but it's for your own good. It really is.
We made it this far, and I didn't hear too much about edge snatching. This is good. We've turned a corner. We're doing better.
But you're still snatching. I mean, you're
and Dr. Melody.
So I'll say this. We all know that insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, but yet expecting a different result. So if you have been showing up to Patrice's lives, if you have been showing up to anything that she has been doing, and you know in your heart that this is something that you want to do, like you want this change for yourself, you want to be able to command the stage, and not only have to command the stage from an actual stage, but just be able to tell your story in such a way that it's going to change lives, then this is the place that you need to be. Don't be like me and just let it pass you by. Because like she said, like there may not be another Command the Stage. So don't put yourself in a situation where you're regretting not taking that leap, because that leap might put you on a mountain where you're going to have to just do things that you have never thought you could do before. But Command the Stage is going to prepare you for that. Okay. Command the Stage is going to prepare you for that and so much more. It's something that I wish that I would have done the first time around, because I just feel like it's just unlocks so much for me, and the way I'm able to just talk with people, share my story, and again, use these different techniques over and over again in various ways. So it's not a one and done class. Like you're going to be able to use these things over and over again. So take a chance on yourself, chase the failure, and sign up for Command the Stage.
Chase the failure. I love it. Stephanie, soon to be Dr. Stephanie, Dr. Laurie, Dr. Melody, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting me with your stories and allowing me to support you. Thank you for being coachable, because I've seen all of you implementing and using different things. And I think that's what gives me the most joy and fulfillment, is knowing that this work matters. And it all came from me having to learn how to tell my story in so many different places, and being able to use what worked, what didn't, to support others. So I'm grateful I could be a part of your journey too. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Love y'all. Love y'all. So that's it. Thank you guys for attending. Instagram, I'm going to say bye now. Hey, Nana Faye. I'm going to say bye now to you all. Thank you guys for hanging in there. If you want more details about Command the Stage, I'm sure you can click a link in my bio somewhere, or send me a DM with your questions. I'll try to get to it, but I do have a test to study for. So talk to you guys later, and I hope to see you in Command the Stage if you feel like this is what you're being led to do. So you guys be blessed. Have a good night. And to everyone on YouTube and Facebook, thank you guys so much. I am super excited about this next round of Command the Stage and seeing what is going to come out of this. It sounds like we may have our first male student. We'll see how that goes. I'm excited about that as well. And if this is not for you and you know someone who this could be for, please share this live stream, the replay to the live stream with them. If you are already planning, if you've already signed up, just know that I am super, super excited to serve you. I know what's on the other side. All you have to do is show up, and my team and I, we have your back. We have you covered. You will be supported. All you have to do is show up. But remember, we both have a responsibility. I'm going to show up and teach my butt off and make sure that you understand not just what to do, but why we do it. But you got to show up and be committed, not just interested. All right, Kimberly, I'll see you in there. Jabrita, Roberta, I'll see you in there. Fabi, I'll see you in there. I'm so excited. Doors close this Friday, April 16th. Doors close Friday, April 16th. Tonight is the last night to use the code to save $500 on registration. That code is Transform 2021. And if you didn't catch the Speak with Purpose replay, I'm actually going to leave it up till tomorrow. I'm going to leave it up to tomorrow so you can check it out. And understand why this is so important. All right. You guys be blessed. Thank you for allowing me to speak into your lives, whether you've been following me or in community with me for the last 24 hours or for the last 10 years. I love you. I'm so grateful to get to do this work. I'm grateful to get to share what I've learned to help make your journey to chasing purpose, not money, easier. You guys have a wonderful Sunday. Say a prayer as I go take this exam and you guys be blessed. Bye. Good night.